The movement is smooth and the hits are crunching, like some sort of peanut butter hybrid that every one of your foes is allergic to.
Ew.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino.
With Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Insomniac has the unenviable task of following up two riveting superhero fantasies full of excitement and heart. While that may sound like a good problem to have, the question becomes, where do you go from there? Well, its answer is to double down. Double down on Spider-Man, double down on the size of the map, double down on explosive action sequences.
Yeah, so IGN is keying and using double down as a pun. You know, two Spidey, so it's double the action and double the fun, blah, blah, blah. But no, really, Insomniac did double down on something that everybody told them not to do in the sequel.
On the topic of covert ops, the playable MJ sequences from the original return, and while they are more involved this time around and serve the story well, they never add up to more than simple stealth missions or splashes of basic third-person shooting. She's certainly not sidelined, but it does feel like a little more could have been done to make her gameplay sections a bit more exciting.
I've said this before, developers are sociopaths. I don't know if it's because of all the D&I hires, so you have all these mentally ill people with pronouns in their names and these narcissistic political agendas who see all of their customers and the fans of the original source material as enemies. But everybody hated the MJ stealth sections in the first game, right? And instead of just respecting the audience's wishes and going, okay, that was something that we didn't have to do and we won't do it this time, instead of just taking the L on the MJ stealth sections, they double and triple down apparently and put more MJ stealth missions in the game, right? And to add insult to injury, they make her look like Ethel Kane while having her moving around and fighting like Ethel Mertz. At this point, there's no way to see this other than as trolling. Like, look how she looks. She's not even shaped right. Like, she has no shape. She has no ass. She's moving around like a little old lady. And these little weak kicks she gives this huge henchman. And we're just supposed to take this seriously.
Primarily a Peter Parker story, Spider-Man 2 explores his relationship with MJ and the reintroduction of childhood best friend Harry Osborn into his life.
Now, to be fair, I wasn't going to buy the game anyway because of the Peter face change. You know, they took a character who was supposed to be older and went through a lot of stuff already, much more mature, who could actually look like someone who would be able to mentor Miles as well as teach a high school class or whatever. They turned him into Tom Holland, who looks like I always say, Iron Man's butt boy. So that was bad enough. I wasn't going to buy the game. So, I mean, whatever they do to MJ, I guess it's fair game, but she just looks terrible.
Ew.
Miles still gets his time in the spotlight, however, and has some fantastic moments towards the end of the main campaign, even if some of the more interesting explorations of his Puerto Rican African-American culture are reserved for side missions.
I don't care about Miles Morales' Afro-Latinx culture any more than I care about Peter's white man culture, whatever that is. One of the reasons that I hate SJWs is that they treat black people like they're a high school science project. You know, they're not just people. They're subjects that's supposed to be studied. Like, they're always this teachable moment for white people. Like, this IGN guy, this reviewer, he sounds like a tourist who's gone to like Puerto Rico or Jamaica somewhere, and he's asking around for like, where can I find the best local color around here, guys? I'd really like to see more of the real Puerto Rico or the real Cuba or the real Jamaica. Huh? Eh? If they love all this like culture stuff so much, they should change Miles's superhero name to Spider-X or Spider-Teen or Araña-X. That'll give him more Afro-Latinx culture there.
For Peter, these themes manifest in a much more physical sense. He's in his early 20s
and she's in her early 40s.
But thanks to the symbiote suit, he's working his way through yet more bodily changes. This physical manifestation is also representative of mental health issues that have developed for each Spider-Man. Venom hangs over the main characters like a spectre of grief, drenching them in black as if in a state of mourning. The story does a great job at gently exploring these issues and how, when not healthily addressed, personal demons can eat at us and lead to people we care about being unintentionally caught in the crossfire of the anger and pain those feelings can produce.
Another your feeling is a valid storyline. SJWs are dealing with mental health issues, right? A lot of them are on meds, they're on social media, and they're following people who are mental health influencers who just use buzzwords and weird validating phrases and treating mental health like it's something that everybody should talk about and have a responsibility for, even in entertainment. So it's like a villain can't just be a villain who's crazy, because now everything has to go through this lens of mental health, your feelings are valid, it's not their fault type thing. So you can't just say, Joker's crazy, he's a psychopath. That harms the way people think of mental health or mental illness. It's like, get out of here.
Whoa, guys, can we take this outside?
There are exceptions to the rule, however. There are a couple of more involved questlines that are much more nourishing, almost to the point of being a series of mini main plot missions.
Another really annoying SJW trend in video games is the female goon. All of a sudden, the gangs, and I'm not talking about, Lilith from Diablo or Liara's mom from Mass Effect, as boss enemies and major villains in the story. I mean, legit just thugs and goons and even brute types of women in the low-level gangs and thugs that populate like Gotham City, or now apparently in Manhattan or whatever. These gangs of, brutish guys who kidnap women, beat them up, who knows what else, are also employing other women, have them fighting alongside them against people like Batman or Robin or Batgirl or whatever, right? And it's this thing where they're like, women could do it too. Women could be the enemy and they could be the threat and they could just physically throw down with you. They get these stupid women fighting Spider-Man. And they're just regular thugs. And he's beating the hell out of them and knocking them out. And, just going by the first game, all the moves you can do to these guys and how you have to beat them up. And it's like, we don't want violence against women, but it's okay for the bad guys to employ women. They have their own D&I mandates that they have to follow. So it's okay to have women there, and I guess okay to beat them up. And it looks so stupid. It's this weird fake power fantasy that feminists pretend to have, that they want to be as big and bruisey as the men are. And I say fake because there was, I don't know if it was IGN, it was one of these gaming websites where the woman saw the big brute creature from, the brute creature woman who was in Gotham Knights, and she was like, wow, she's so big and strong, I love it. It's like, no, you don't. If anybody compared you to her, like the whole Lizzo joke, if anybody compared you to this big bruisey woman, you'd be insulted.
Ew.
A highlight, though, is the theme that follows in Craven's footsteps, which bears more than a passing resemblance to Howard Shore's Uruk-hai War March from the Lord of the Rings score.
This was an odd comment. Like, I don't get why he's praising something that's so obviously a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. The bad poet imitates, the great poet steals. In this case, doesn't seem to be making this his own thing. It's clearly a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. It sounds just like Uruk-hai.
The flight meat's back on the menu, boys!
Ew.
So overall, the review itself is fine, despite the bad puns and the excessive flowery prose throughout some of this, and just this excessive need that journalists have to act like not going out of your way to talk about a black character's heritage or something is an issue. This is like, he at no point does he say anything about Peter Parker. I wish they talked more about Peter Parker and what it feels like to be a white man in today's society. But no, you see Miles Morales and you go, well, they don't talk about the fact that he likes platanos and fried chicken. And despite that stuff, if I didn't care about all these SJW elements, and I didn't have a problem with the face change, these ugly Mary Jane looking like some old shriveled up hag, looking even worse than she did in the first game. They could have just left her looking like she did in the first game. But it wasn't like people were looking at MJ and salivating and whatever horrible things they think people are doing to attractive female characters in video games. I don't know. The action seemed to look cool. There's parts in the video where they show like these cool sequences and stuff. So I fully expect the game to do really well. It only sucks for me because I'm just so disconnected from AAA games now. I talked about this in a video when I said I wasn't looking forward to Forspoken, and that I said in that video I also wasn't looking forward to God of War Ragnarok. Ended up getting God of War, and it was exactly what I had feared. God of War Ragnarok is one of the worst AAA games I've ever played. From then on, I haven't gotten anything AAA since. I think mostly now I just play. Oh, okay. So I did play Resident Evil 4. That was actually a disappointment in some ways too. So I haven't had a satisfying experience with AAA in a while now. I'm just mostly playing indie games. Yeah, it's just weird to see how much activism and popular culture has affected and hampered creativity and a sense of artistic freedom, where you're allowed to tell the story your way, to have characters look the way you want them to look without outside pressure. So yeah, it just sucks.